Crazy, the story of a woman and a world in love with an animal. Sarah Maslin Nir. I began writing at 2, and the family lore is that it was because I could never sit still. Car rides from Manhattan, Upper East, where we lived, out to East Hamptons, where my family had a summer home, were apparently torture for my parents. A Ford Taurus filled with my dad's 55 of age, with no time for the antics of a fourth and final child with my mom, 38, and overwhelmed by Knick's little me. My father was a podiatrist, and I arrived late in his life, born in Poland in 1930. He was old enough that he was a Holocaust survivor who had invaded Hitler's grip at 9-year-old boy. Dad had 2 sons from his previous marriage. By that time, it was my turn. With him as a father, his days of babbling babies and humoring toddlers were long gone by. Although he was renewed child psychiatrist, he was better at relating to little ones as patients than his own progeny, eager from him to get down on the floor and finger paint. My parents met when my mom was an assistant elementary school teacher, and my father had been called in to diagnose a diabetic student for hers who seemed suicidal. He was refusing his insulin. My father cracked the case with his discovering that the child had absorbed the message of back-to-school pencils, and a little too well. The child told Dad he was afraid that if he injected the life-saving jug into his vein, he would become a druggie. My mother was impressed, detecting in the visiting doctor's voice the Israel accent. She ran down the school staircase after him as he left the session, shouting the formal Hebrew school. Hebrew, she knew, Adoni, she called out, thinking it just meant sir. In fact, now translation, more like my league. My father, then 42 years old, bald mustachio, with teeth snagged by the wartime bite of his childhood in Poland, stopped at the tracks. He looked up the staircase and saw a green-eyed 25-year-old woman with waist-length blonde hair, and she had called him her lord. The end. Thank you so much, and I'll be back for part 2.